Hi, everybody. It's Gwen Peterson, creator of Insights and Illuminations. And let me get my light out of your face there. How's that? Is that better? I thought I had it all set. All right. Here we go. Anyway, here I am. Gwen Peterson, creator of Insights and Illuminations. And this is episode 5 of It's a Game. And this week, we're going to be diving into the art of meditation and journaling. They're tools that you can use for clarity and soul connection. So we'll touch on a few different points. We'll talk about why they're essential to your spiritual practice. I'll share some stories, some struggles that I had with both practices, and some practical tips that you can work with. Hopefully, you will feel confident in starting your own journey into spirituality. And as a result, playing the game, which is what we've been talking about these past 4 weeks, focusing on a deeper dive into my book, It's a Game. And let's see, what can I gonna look at my notes here quick, make sure I'm on target with you. Because last week, I think I started talking about meditation. I meant to just touch on it, and I got carried away and started talking all about it. And I think I reined it in just in time so that we could talk a little bit more about it this week. And meditation, I'm sure everybody's heard about it. Lots of people teach it. Lots of people talk about it. It's been around for thousands of years. And there's a reason for that. It's because it works. It's helpful. It plays different roles in your life. And so, like I said, I think we're going to touch on some of those here. I believe in it so much that I've obviously written a book on it, or will have a book coming out shortly called Meditation Starts With Me, breaking down everything about it so you can be successful at meditation. And at some point, probably a book on journaling. But meditation, I think, is probably everybody's biggest hurdle. They hear about it, they think about it. Some people dabble in it, tried it. And when I started out, I didn't really know anything about it at the time. There wasn't a lot on it. So it was a real learning curve for me. And I discovered things about meditation I didn't realize at the beginning. I started out trying to just calm down. I had some stress and anxiety going on, and I was hoping to just tone that stuff down. And what it did is it unlocked a whole journey, whole new path, things I didn't expect, and a depth to it that I really didn't expect. And it also helped to unfold how It's a Game, that whole It's a Game thing came about from that event that I talked about in the first episode. Because that incident really confused me. I didn't understand. I didn't know anything about it. And so it wasn't a straight line in learning about it and figuring it out. I had to peel away those layers, and I'd ask questions, read books, and then meditation, came into play, and not so much for the figuring out of that event as much as it was still trying to figure out that hollow feeling I was having. So on that note, let's just dive into it. Like I said, I just wasn't sure how to start. So I just dove in. I just started sitting down. I started listening to certain audios, like guided meditations and such. Those are easy to start with because you have somebody who's kind of walking you through it. It keeps you kind of preoccupied as you're sitting there. Um, and it works out nice. I thought that, those were really good for calming me down so much that I would fall asleep, and when I'd fall asleep, I'd feel really good. So I was like, maybe I'll start falling asleep to these because I was struggling to fall asleep at night. I'd lay in bed till all hours of the night, hashing through world's events. And starting out with a meditation just really quieted my mind down so that I could just fall off to sleep. And then I'd wake up refreshed. And that felt really good to me. And so it evolved from there step by step. Like I said, I'll have a book. Maybe I'll do a podcast on it a little bit more on some of the dynamics of that. But I started to learn that it it was a lot to sit down. I was, in the corporate world, I was used to juggling, 6 balls in the air, and just to sit and do meditation for any length of time just really seemed a waste of time at the beginning. That struggle with myself to do it, um, I learned was the whole point of meditation. It, that I've teach it, like I said, I've been teaching it, I feel strongly about it, and when I teach it, the first thing that comes out of everybody's mouth is how hard it is for them, or they've tried it and not succeeded at it, that it's hard, they can't quiet their mind. That seems to be the biggest thing is that, meditation has got this preconceived notion that when you sit down, you just sit and your mind is clear as a bell and there's nothing going on, and you just sit quietly in the lotus position in your Zen moment. And that would be great if that's how it worked all the time. And it doesn't. It takes some time to do it. And sitting with an empty head is not really the goal so much as emptying that mind. So when you're sitting and doing your meditation, if you find that you're not able to quiet it, then bingo, you are in the right place at the right time, because meditation is the only way that's going to clear that busy mind. Because we have thoughts, we have like 6,000 thoughts a day. Not all of them good, not all of them inspirational and uplifting. Most of them fearful, and most of them lots of drama, engaging you in things probably best not get engaged in the course of a day anyway. And if you're not taking time to meditate, there's only one time when you're going to be quiet enough for you to hear those thoughts, and that's going to be when you're going to sleep. And for those of you who are struggling to fall asleep, it's probably because your head is very active, right? There's thoughts, and I get it. There's some people that are like, the whole concept of thoughts going on in their head is a novel idea. So again, tuning, it's all an awareness thing. That's all of what meditation is an awareness journey. Learning to focus, learning to observe the mind, learning to control the mind, learning to quiet the mind. And the mind operates like a young child. For those who have kids, you can equate it to bedtime. If you have a small child and you're putting them to bed and they don't want to go to bed and they kick and they scream, and if you cave in, it's harder the next night, and it just gets harder and harder the more you cave in, and so it's better. Or if you wanna look at training an animal, a dog, um, training a dog's the same way, you gotta be consistent. Consistency is the key there, and the mind will fight you on it. It's going to be noisy, it's going to be boisterous, and so being aware of that, hearing it, working with it, that is the practice. That is meditation. So the idea of sitting quietly in the ethers. Just get that out for starting out because that's gonna be down the road. So, let's talk about this. When I say focus, I'm talking about that you are, as an observer, directing your mind to where it's going to put its attention because we come into this world and our mind just kind of runs on autopilot. It kind of does whatever it wants to do, whenever it wants to do. And that's not always a good thing. And when you meditate, you start by first observing what's there, what's on your mind, what's going on, where does it keep going, what's the focus, not engaging the thoughts as far as following the thread through all the way. What you want to do is just notice, you know, did a telephone, noticing, like, say, a phone call came up, noticing that it came up. You don't have to go back and rehash it in your brain about the conversation and what came of it and what's going on. Just allow yourself to kind of skip from thought to thought, seeing what's coming up and what is getting your attention. As you go along, you're going to find that there are thoughts that you can't let go. They're there front and center. They're demanding your attention. So those are the ones you're going to want to look at, again, in a detached, observational way. You're going to want to look at it and see, what is this thought about? Why am I having it? Why is it being so persistent? Having those conversations with yourself and hearing what those answers are that are coming back. Um, and that's where the depth of it comes in. And you'll find that the more you actually start to hear those thoughts all the way through, the mind gets quieter. And then all of a sudden, one day you'll sit down and your mind won't be trying to get your attention. So it'll fight you on sitting down too. It'll be like, oh, you've got a million things to do. The thing that you least wanted to do is now the most important thing to do. Excuse me. So you want to have that conversation with it. You want to assure it that everything's okay. That for, say, 10 minutes, if you're starting out, you might want to one day a week for 10 minutes and just tell yourself kindly that, hey, we're just going to sit for 10 minutes. This is good. We're going to be all right. Nothing's going to happen. And when we're done, we can pick up and start again. And so that's part of the practice too. And you just kind of work through that, work through getting your butt in the chair, consistently in the chair. And that's where, starting out easily, giving yourself something that's workable, not, I'm going to sit for an hour every day. No, one day for 10 minutes, you can do that. And you still might get some pushback from your brain, but you can do it. And like I said, that's part and parcel of the practice. Sitting in the chair, you're noticing those thoughts. Now, this is where journaling might come in for you. I found that journaling really enhanced the whole meditation practice. I could journal beforehand. I could take notes or journal during my meditation if something came up that was very inspirational. Or like I mentioned, you might have some kind of situation that's got your attention that won't quiet down. You can stop and journal on it. Or in other cases where your meditation has gone really, really well and you're at the end of your meditation and you're just sitting there and just soaking in all the goodness and that alignment that you've had with spirit, you may want to continue for the writing experience afterwards, calling to mind what came to you, what meant the most to you, what you're grateful for, um, and just kind of pursuing that. And meditation and journaling, even though a lot of it is similar, in practice as far as sitting down and doing it. You got the struggle of sitting down to do it. You got the struggle with your mind that doesn't want to do it. And so you'll have those things in common. And there's a depth to both of them. They have that in common. But the difference is between the two of them is when you are meditating, you got your eyes closed and you're finding that alignment with your soul, that soul essence of yourself, the heart center. And once you move out of the head into the heart and you have that connection and you start to really um, begin a conversation with that deeper part of yourself, that observer part of you, um, you're usually kind of off in the ethers doing it, okay? Because you've taken your attention away from the third dimension, okay? Because you're not really engaging with it. You're more focused out into non-physical, if you will. And journaling, on the other hand, is pen to paper, okay? And I recommend pen to paper. I've had students in the past, "Oh, no, I'll do it on the computer," and it's like, "No, it's not the same." There is and it's been what they've even shown, I just heard that there's, some studies that have been done about the cursive writing that, kids who are still being taught cursive writing have more of a creative flair, a deeper sense of, beingness from the act of cursive as opposed to just printing things or typing on a computer, on a keyboard. And so I recommend the pen to paper, partly because you're preoccupying that focus thing comes back. You're focusing on the writing. Okay, so that's keeping your mind preoccupied while you're connecting on on a higher plane. The act of the writing is anchoring you to third dimension. Okay, so you're not as far out in the ethers because you have to stay connected to make that pen and paper connect. And there's a connection there that anchors in the thought processes on those higher planes. Hope this is all making sense to you. If at any point I'm talking about things that just aren't connecting or you're not quite sure what I'm saying, leave a message or you can reach out to me, email me. There's lots of ways to get hold of me. Just visit my website. The information's down below in the description. I also have videos and stuff on meditation. So feel free to peruse all that and take advantage of being successful at this very helpful thing. In fact, I just had a conversation with a lady the other day about that she meditates, but not as frequently. And she's beginning to have some blood pressure issues. And in fact, I have friends that have complained about having blood pressure issues. And one of the things meditation is known to help with is high blood pressure because blood pressure usually comes from high stress, anxiety, and meditation helps to relieve those things and journaling as well. So the two of them together are a win-win situation if you are really trying to get better sleep, because that adds to the blood pressure thing too, is not sleeping well. So it helps with sleep. It helps with memory. It helps with a lot of cognition type aspects. So that's why I recommend it so thoroughly. So, so bringing that journaling into your practice helps as well. You're going to be in different places with it too. Some days you'll sit down and things will be nice and quiet and you'll just feel really good and you're just going to feel like you are soaring to the clouds and you're just over the moon feeling wonderful and happy and elated, right? And then there's other days you're going to be you're going to sit down and go, what the heck just happened? And so you take those days as they come. And your meditation practice should do the same thing because some days will be easier to focus than others. And different meditations help you to focus. So you'll have, I mentioned the guided meditations; those are good. I do guided meditations as well. If you check out my YouTube channel, you can listen in on those. Those are heart activated, channeled messages. So feel free to use those. There's also mantras. Mantra meditations would be, you could use a favorite affirmation, you can use old Sanskrit type of mantras. There's people have done different mantra meditations. You can just parrot back. But the idea is to focus on the words that you're saying, to embody the words that you're saying, not just saying them because you know them by heart, but rather sitting and really following the vibration of the words as you're saying it, feeling the movement of the words, the emotions the words bring up. Sumatra. Yoga in its purest form is a form of meditation. It's a focus on the body and breathing as you move through positions. And chakra meditations, which are you're focusing on the different energy points in your body and opening and clearing them. Um, so those are just highlights. Silent meditation or mindful meditation would be no real exterior thing to focus on as much as you're just focusing on focusing. You're focusing on, you could do things like counting. Excuse me, count to 40 without your mind interrupting you. You can focus on the breathing. You can focus on your body, the sensations. Yeah, I think that's a good rounded out meditation types of meditation you can work with. So each one would obviously help you with different things that you're working on. And meditation will start out with, like I said, working with the mind, controlling it, sitting in the seat, clearing it, working through whatever thoughts keep nagging at you. And then you'll go deeper. You'll start to really feel nudges, if you will. You'll feel inspiration. You'll have these random thoughts pop in that are just like amazing. Well, that's spirit. That's you making that connection because you're in that alignment. You're in that space. How do you know you're in alignment? You're going to feel really good. The more you move into alignment with your soul essence, the better you're going to feel. Anytime you're not feeling good when you're doing this stuff is because you're too in your head. Okay, that's the mind thing. Okay, your soul is part of the God energy, the universal energy. Your mind is the physical part of you that anchors you here on planet Earth. And it's all about planet Earth. So what you want to do is notice how you feel. If you're feeling really good, you're in a good spot. If you're not feeling good, then your mind has got control of the thing. And then you want to look at those thoughts. What are those thoughts that it's telling you? Because it can be very fearful. We've trained ourselves into that. So we can train ourselves out of it. Not by just ignoring bad feeling thoughts, but rather looking at them. What are they about? That's where your journaling comes in. You got a thought you can't let go of. It doesn't feel good. It's kind of icky. You start writing. You just write it out and write it out in its complete form. Okay, because a lot of times during the day, say you have something that's bothering you, somebody did you wrong and they're on your mind and you can't, and you, every time they pop up, you push it away, you're stuffing it, all right? You're sticking your head in the sand. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. Partly because there's a lot of teachers out there that'll tell you, oh, watch your thoughts, don't speak your words and, definitely don't write them down, right? That is counterintuitive, really, because if you're stuffing it away, then it's still there. It's like an app running in the background on your computer. It's still there. It's still running because you haven't looked at it. You haven't opened it up, looked at it, and made a decision what you're gonna do with it. All right? So, when you have something like that, that you've been pushing away, it keeps coming up, then you sit down, and I'm not saying go back and dig up all the garbage from whatever's on your mind in that moment when you're sitting, that's what you're writing on. So if something's really got your attention, sit and write the thought out completely. Don't shut it down. And then look at it. Just really look at it and see what's there. Is this some thought that you've been stuffing since you were 10 years old? It happens. And in writing it out, you can see that and you can feel the release of it because guess what? Your mind is like, "You finally heard me," because your mind wants you to be safe. It just wants you to hear it. Like a kid, let's go back to the kid thing. If you have a child and your child wants your attention, do you keep ignoring it? If you keep ignoring your kid, I tell you what, they're gonna keep nagging at you. All right. And the best way to hear them is to listen to them. And just even from a kindness, loving parent spot, why would you ignore your child? Why wouldn't you listen to what they have to say? Hear them out in their entirety. So take your little mind, your child, and sit down with a pen and paper and hear what it has to say. And some of it you will feel a release with. You'll be like, boy, am I glad I got that out, and it'll be over and done with. Now, other ones might not. Other ones might, kind of be like something you might need to work on. Okay, something you might need to spend a little time working on. And that's kind of where I come in. I can help you work through those things. Um, some of them just, you need to just look at it and just see what it is and listen maybe into it, the answers to it, because that is what all this is about, is learning to tune into that guidance from your soul so that you can intuit your own understanding of things and what's important to you and what you need to know and do. So that's where the journaling will come in. It'll help you to sort that kind of stuff out, get those thoughts out, and don't minimize it. Sometimes people, "Oh, I'll only write a page," or "Oh, write as long as it takes." Take your time and write. Write, write, write. I think the first time I did my legitimate journaling was I was laying in bed. It was like 3 in the morning, and I had a particular situation that just was playing over and over and over in my head. It just wouldn't stop. It just kept playing over, and was looking at it from 8 different directions and playing it over again. And finally, I just kinda got this little nudge of, "Why don't you just go write this stuff out?" And I that wasn't something I did, so I was like, "No," because, I don't wanna get out of bed. I'm trying to sleep, and then I heard, "Well, you're not really sleeping, are you?" I was like, "No, no, I'm not." So I got up, sat down with a piece of paper, and about 10 pages later, I, had finally written out everything that was stuck in my head. I felt tired. I laid down and I got a really good night's sleep for the remaining hours I had left before I had to get up. But I felt really, really rested. I felt more rested than I had in a while. So that really helped. So I began to journal. I just began, anytime things were stuck in my head, I would write about it, and I was getting guidance from within on it, and I just saw how that was helping to move things as I journaled. It also helped, like I said, with meditation, because I'll tell you what, once my mind started to quiet down, my meditation went in a whole different direction. And again, let me circle back. I'm gonna circle back. That is something that happens later. It's not gonna happen the first time you sit down. So don't expect it. Don't judge yourself. We are so quick to judge ourselves, especially with meditation. Our mind gets very active. It'll tell you you're not doing it right. What are we doing? What's going on? What was that? Where are we at? It'll just be all about everything, and it's going to judge you about whether or not you're doing it right. And you are. If you're sitting there, that's half the battle. Okay, that's half the battle. And then just noticing where you're at. It's the other half of the battle. And that's all it is. It's all that meditation and journaling is quieting that down, seeing what's stuck up in your head, what can get unstuck. Can you move to a better feeling place with things and just quieting things down? When I started out, like I said, began with doing a lot of meditation at night so I could sleep well. Then I switched to days. Was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the morning, first thing before anything happened, so I didn't get distracted. And that seemed to be going, after a little while, that seemed to be going good. I was listening to audio guided meditations. That was really nice. Excuse me. Let me take a sip here. And then that was going nice. So I decided I would up my game and do Monday through Friday. And my mind was rebelling and saying, "What do you mean you're going to do it 5 days a week? You've got so much to do. Why would you do five?" And I'm like, "Because I'm feeling pretty good with it. And I'll give myself the weekend off." Okay. And so I meditate Monday through Friday and give myself the weekend off. And didn't take very long before I started noticing on Mondays how chaotic when I'd sit down. It was just very chaotic. My brain was all over the place. Things were just, my life over the weekend was chaotic. And a light bulb went on. Because during my meditation, I'm thinking, it's so weird that, over the weekend, it's just chaos. And during the week, when I have so much going on, because I'm still working in corporate America, my 60 hours a week, I was like, wow, that seems to be going really smooth. But, come the weekend, I was like, oh, it's the meditation. Oh no, it's the meditation. So me and my mind had to sit down and have a heart to heart. It was going to be 7 days a week. Come heck or high water, we were going to be sitting down and we were going to meditate every day. And I've meditated pretty much every day ever since. Um, Not always in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes many times during the day, depending on how the day is going. Um, because once you find that alignment and you feel good, you want to stay in that place. So sometimes you can get thrown out of it and you need to sit quietly, close your eyes for a moment, and just kind of regain your composure and start again. So you do what you can or need to, and you just find that the days start smoothing out. Sure, there's stuff, there's always going to be drama, there's always going to be things going on, but you move through meter easier. They move along better. Um, because you're not so attached to them. You can stay a little more detached and understand it from a little bit different perspective. Because when you're in the thick of things, sometimes your perspective gets a little skewed. And if you can step back and observe it, you can kind of see how who the players are, how they're playing, where they're playing, why they're playing, which kind of circles back to the bigger arc here, which is it's a game, right? It's a game can only be played from that detached space. And the only way you can get to that detached space is through meditation and journaling. So I think that's it. We've been going for about 3.5 hours or an hour. half hour, it's 3:30. No, it's not 3.5 hours. It's been about a half hour, so, I think I've said what I've needed to say, and like mentioned, I've got the book, I've got videos, I've got a lot of stuff, there's an ebook on it as well on my website. I think I have in the description below. I have, yeah, I have the links to those for you. So feel free to check them out. I will be back next week for episode 6, and I'll be putting that up shortly. So you'll be able to see what we will cover in that. So we're down to what, three more episodes of playing the game. And let's do a meditation. If you are not driving or doing anything that requires your attention, find a comfy spot to just kind of sit and close your eyes. I want you to put your attention on your heart center. Take a few deep breaths, belly breaths if you can, where you're just taking those big, comfortable relaxation breaths. It sends the message to your mind to quiet and focus, and it messages your body to relax. Take another big, deep breath, and as you release, start to notice where your mind is going. Are there any thoughts that are popping up right away? Is your mind trying to convince you that this episode's over? Turn it off. Let's go. This would be the time to quiet it and take another deep breath to let it know it needs to focus right here, right now, in this moment. Because in this moment, we're not worrying about what's in the past and what's in the future, just where we are right now. And how that feels. And how our body might be responding. Adjust your seat if you need to. Stay comfortable. Notice any sounds around you. Not engaging, but noticing. Let those sounds take you deeper into the space of silence. The space in between the thoughts. Taking another deep breath and allowing yourself to release any of those thoughts that might still linger. Breathe deeply into your heart center and feel the fullness, the love space, the love of this month, the love of the people around you, the love of self. Let that begin to permeate outward. Feeling your cells come alive and ignite. Allowing yourself to connect with that alignment for the moment. And taking a deep breath. Coming back, bringing your attention back to your physical body, wiggling fingers and toes. And if you feel so inclined, maybe do a little journaling on what this was all about for you, how it felt, what you took away. Or just sit quietly, giving yourself a moment to acclimate back. Take some time, shuffle your feet around so that you can reground before you get into cars or operate machinery or do any cooking. Give yourself that self-love. Thank you for being here. Thanks for listening. Hope you begin a meditation practice. It is the best form of self-love, and you'll be pleasantly surprised what it'll do for you. Take care. See you next week. Love you.